on the bets.
Okay.
You saw Tiafo again?
No, didn't.
Bro, I was so sad. I mean, I was happy for him, but I keep betting him, and fucking, in tennis, if they retire, the bet's void no matter when they retire.
Oh man.
So Dimitrov retired down 4-1 in the fourth set, like he was dead. It was over.
Yeah, that
And he
sucks.
retired, so it pushed instead. It was so stupid.
I
But
wonder if
Tiafoe's
every
electric, dude. We're guaranteed to have an American in the final.
That's fire.
It's like the first time in a long time.
I might get headphones. One sec. Oh, they're right here.
Let's check on these percentages.
Go one ear on them.
Okay, that's good.
Let me make sure my audio is coming out the right mic. It is connected to the wrong device. Yeah, so I got a draft at 8:30, and it's one of those ones. Draft order doesn't come out an hour; it comes out half an hour. So like in 15 minutes, I'm gonna be checking to see where I'm drafting and texting my boy, so we're on the same page.
Nice. What league's that?
It is my college friends league.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, boy. Do you hear like sizzling in the background?
Yeah.
Yeah. Still?
No.
No. I put on the noise reduction. You don't hear it now?
Nope. Not even a little bit now.
If you start to hear it mid pod, let me know, and I'll like mute when I'm not talking. All right.
Okay. We should be fine. Okay. What are your picks? You like Buffalo plus Cincy? Which ones?
I ended up changing it. I put Dallas with Cincy, but I might end up with Buffalo Cincy in my thing as well. I do like the Arizona bet as well, but I'm not going to double give it out because like, what am I going to give different reasons than you have? But I'm betting that too. I'll probably just say that.
Well, I mean, that's a Buffalo. So you're going to try to middle that?
Maybe not, but I do like the Arizona bet, dog.
Yeah, I feel like if Buffalo wins, though, they'll probably kill them,
You think so?
Yeah, I think Arizona might win that game.
Okay, let's get it started, bro.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so I can finish before 8:30.
Let's do it. You hear me good?
I got you. How about me?
Good. All right. Nick and Bean Pod 2024, Nick. Now, we have done a pod, so this is technically the second one, but this is the first real one. The first one was a preseason, futures. This is week 1 NFL football. How are you feeling?
This is the big one, man. This is the big one. Last week was just a dry run, taking some test hacks. This week is NFL week 1. We're back. I think we even have a Friday game this week, don't we?
Yeah, the
Brazil
Roger Goodell, he doesn't care. He's taken over. He says Wednesday, yes, Friday, yes, every day of the week. He does not care. They used to say, we'll never do Friday. We don't want to step on high school football. We'll never do Saturday. No, they're taking everything. All right. And I absolutely love it because you can't get enough football. And we will talk about that Friday game because that is the Brazil game. Romy Rome is in the building. Back to business. Let's make some money. Speaking of money, we got a raise this year, Nick. Our number one sponsor for the 4th year. I haven't even told you, but the deal is massive. Diet Smoke is our sponsor again. As we all know, we can talk. I don't even have an ad read because this stuff is just too good. We both use it. It's incredible. Gummies, vapes, pens, sodas, merch, everything. Yeah. Diet Smoke, code Nick and Bean, as always. Rod is in the building as well. What's good? Nick and Bean, E on the end of Bean, of course. Okay, so that's going to get you 20% off. All right, if you didn't, we might have had some people that didn't tune in for the preseason pod. So I just want to go over our records really quickly. I was 25, 22, and 2, the worst gambler on the show, still a winning gambler. Nick was 25 and 20, and Prop God was 22 and 9. We're not going to have him today, but we do have 2 bets from him when we get to pod picks. All right.
The next best thing. If you can't have Prop God, you can at least have his props.
Exactly. And that's really all we need from him, to be honest. We love you, but we just need your winners. Okay. All right. Let's go. I want to go back over our futures really quickly from the last show, Nick. You want to look up yours and get them for me?
I was about to say,
I think you had Kincaid under 800.5 yards. You had Njoku over 67.5 receptions, and you had Detroit plus 135 to win the NFC North. For some reason, cannot find my bets, so I will update those and I'll put them on the Instagram for everyone. Okay. All right, here we go.
I think you had a Super Bowl bet, but you didn't give it out. Like, I think you just had one of those ones where you're like, this is the best team. I'm going to put money on it, but I don't think you gave it out as a pick. Like,
yeah, that was the Chiefs, but I didn't put that. I didn't give that out. I forgot what I gave out, to be totally honest.
Watch I'll have to back, check folks.
I'll check my bet sheet. But in other news, we did put our 2 fantasy football teams up from the draft we had, and by a vote of 60% to 40%, the people liked my team, of course. Of course.
Wow, I wonder whose page we put. Do we post it on Nick and Beans or did we post it on your page?
Nick and Bean page. We had 16 votes or 18 votes. It was a very tight race. And
large
I think what it's saying though is the people like both our teams. Let's be honest. All right. Here's the show tonight. We are gonna preview 4 games. Okay. We're gonna preview 2 primetime games and 2 Sunday games. Okay. The primetime games are going to be the Thursday and the Friday game, and then we're going to have 2 day games from Sunday. We would have loved to go through absolutely every game, but we're not going to. You know, I feel like the only game we probably left off, but I do have a bet in it, so we'll talk about it a little bit, is that Detroit Rams game Sunday night, which is a great game. So we'll talk about that when we get to pod picks. Let's open it up. Season opener. The Baltimore Ravens traveling to Kansas City, a rematch of the AFC title game. KC is -3. That number's dropped. It was -4 about a month ago. And the over-under is 46. Now, remember, this is the classic game where the Super Bowl winner gets to play at home, and they usually pick a pretty good opponent. Last year, if you remember, KC,
Buffalo, right?
No, they hosted Detroit. Detroit. Amon-Ra, first touchdown of the season. Detroit won that game 21-20. Okay. Now, both sides added some weapons. KC added speed all over the field. Hollywood Brown is not playing, but you got Xavier Worthy. And, of course, Baltimore added the king, Derrick Henry. Nick, what are your thoughts on this game?
So I'm actually leaning probably towards KC. I haven't officially bet it. I'm probably not even going to give it out. Maybe we'll put it on the IG. These are two of some of the best teams in the AFC. Baltimore's been one of my favorites for a minute, and I love KC as well just because they're so fun to watch, that high-flying offense. They got Isaiah Pacheco, so they got a good run game. They've got the best quarterback ever created, so they've got a good passing game. They've got one of the best offensive minds leading that team. Baltimore, on the other hand, the best run game, and who they add, Derrick Henry, something that we've never seen. Well, maybe we've seen it in the league, but we haven't seen it in the league in a long time. A guy like him. You add that to Lamar, plus the head coach is great, John Harbaugh. We've got 2 class organizations going at it on this first game.
Definitely. And I know you mentioned the high-flying offense of KC. I do believe that they will get back to that this year. Last year, they were a little bit down. I mean, they were lacking weapons. Right, Rashee Rice didn't come on till later in the year. I just feel like they were a different style of team than they had been in the past. But I expect them to throw the ball around. And if you're on KC, you're on the sharp side because the public is hammering Baltimore, and that's why the lines went all the way down to -3. So 69% of the bets and 59% of the money is on Baltimore. I don't have this game's tough. This week, I will say, Nick, this is one of the toughest. Week 1's always hard. This is one of the toughest weeks I've ever seen when looking at the board. I mean, I really had to dive deep to find bets, but if I'm going to give out a bet for this game, I'd take Isaiah Pacheco to score a touchdown. And I think that's like plus 110, plus 115. Excuse me. I do think he does get into the end zone, but this game, no matter the outcome, nothing would surprise me. Baltimore comes out, plays incredible, revenges that loss from the playoffs. KC, we know, is always going to be there, or KC could come out and blow them out, or we could have a close game. Like, nothing's going to surprise us here, but we've got maybe 2 of the 5 best teams in the league. First game of the season. I mean, bless up, bro.
That's kind of like the thing with week 1. I'd kind of tie this, not completely liken it to the last week of the season where things have already been clinched and all that, but I wouldn't bet as big week 1 as I would week 4.
Totally agree.
For the bettors out there.
We need some eyes on these teams. I 100% agree. All right. Let's go to Friday night. Back-to-back nights. Now, we both have ties here. You spent some time in Brazil this summer, right?
Yeah.
You spent some
5
time
days
there?
in Rio. Didn't see any football, but saw the beach, saw a world wonder. Beautiful country. Very different. The language is difficult. They don't speak a lot of English there. But Sao Paulo is where this game is going to be hosted. I looked up the tickets. Nosebleeds, maybe not nosebleeds, but like upper level tickets were like $600. So this game was a high, what do you want to call that? Like a high demand game.
Definitely.
And excited for the NFL expanding to that country compared to going to like freaking England every year. Like, why the hell are we doing that?
We'll be back to England, but some people know my wife's Brazilian, so I have ties there as well. I'll be there early next year. We're going on vacation, so it's a great place. I don't know how they're going to handle the football. I know there's a lot of security tightened up. I know there's been a lot of controversy around this game. AJ Brown says he's not leaving his hotel room. You know what I mean? So I think people are a little bit weary. I mean, it's a long flight too. I mean, the closest place to fly there from is where we are in South Florida. I mean, still an 8-hour flight. So it's not an easy travel for these guys. And it's not like England where they've been doing it for 10 years and everyone knows where to practice and hang out. This is totally foreign for these guys.
Jacksonville is basically like, that's like their home field B is in England.
Exactly. Let's see how many games they plan on having in Brazil. It's a one and done, Rome. This is the only game they're doing for this year. And I honestly,
if it goes good,
I wouldn't be surprised if they don't go back for quite some time. Would you say, Nick?
I would think that if it goes good, they'll go back. Maybe a couple years, because I know they did Mexico off and on.
Mexico City was a travesty a couple times, I think.
The field was horrible.
Yes.
So like little things like that are going to have to check out. I know that Sao Paulo is a major city in Brazil's a pretty major country. Like if you compare it to
huge.
If you compare it to like Colombia or, you know what I mean, one of those other South American countries.
Times the size. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's actually the size of America. Brazil.
I don't think it's quite, but it's fucking huge for sure.
It is. It's if you take out the lakes, like the Great Lakes and all that stuff that we have, it would be the same size as America, just about.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is a geography podcast now. Nick and Bean, code Nick and Bean on AskJeeves.com. That's a throwback. All right. 2 teams who were going in opposite directions last year, right? Green Bay, they had to, I mean, Jordan Love, he might have sucked for the first half of the year. Nobody ever thought he could be what he was for the last half of last year. But they stormed into the playoffs. They rolled the Cowboys in Dallas. And honestly, they could have beat San Francisco. They were up in that game. They easily could have won that game. All right. So Green Bay, target up. Now, Philly, on the other hand, was 10-1 last year and fell apart and lost almost every game down the stretch and then got killed by Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield in the playoffs.
Of all people.
Two teams, exactly, of all people. 2 teams going in opposite directions, but Philly, new coordinator, they're getting their feet back under them. They do lose Jason Kelce, which I think is a big loss. You know what I mean? But they've still got weapons all over the field. Jalen Hurts is still getting better. And coming into this game, Philly is a -3 favorite. Over-under is 49, a pretty big number for the NFL the last couple years. Nick, what are your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be, thankfully for both teams, it's week 1, and they don't have to mid-season fly out to Brazil and come back. Philly, I like the addition of Josh Jacobs. I think he's going to be good in that offense. I think he obviously had a down year last year. Sorry,
Green Bay.
Josh Jacobs. I know he had a down year last year with the Raiders, but I think he's a dog, and you put him on that offense with Jalen Hurts. I think that's a great addition.
With Jordan Love.
Jalen, Jesus Christ, why am I mixing the two teams together? But
They
whatchamacallit,
both were green.
and I was about to talk about freaking the Eagles offensive line. But so let's transition to that. I was about to tie them into Josh Jacobs. But the Eagles offensive line does lose Kelsey, but they still are a top 10 offensive line, and they have
sure.
two great tackles. I was over here looking for it. I did pull up offensive line stats before the pod, but I can't find them right now. But yeah, I know they're top 10. So who do you like in this game? I don't know if you ever told us your opinion.
So first of all, trivia. All right. So Jordan Love got Josh Jacobs, right? The Green Bay Packers got Josh Jacobs. Can you confirm that? Okay.
Yeah.
Who, easiest trivia of the day, who did Jalen Hurts and the Eagles get?
Maybe that's the name that I was thinking about talking about.
This is
the whole
incredible.
time.
Guys, listen to me right now. This is why you tune into the Nick and Bean pod. All right. This moment right here is an all-time moment. Nick, I'm gonna give it to you again. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to think.
They didn't get like
2,
Aaron Jones.
3,
He's somewhere else. He's with
4.
Minnesota.
Yep.
They
Come on.
didn't
A
get
bigger name, a big name. It's a huge name.
Oh, Saquon Barkley. That's what I'm talking about.
Saquon Barkley. I knew you had it in you. Let's go.
Saquon Barkley. I knew they had a running back that I like and is going to be a good addition to their offense. Saquon Barkley, you put him anywhere. You put him with a good offensive line. You put him with a good offense, and you put him with a good running and decent throwing quarterback in Jalen Hurts, I think is only positivity.
Yep, I agree. 72% of the bets are on Green Bay. 63% of the money, though, is on Philly. So sharp money and big money is coming in on Philly. You asked who I liked.
Yes,
if I don't have again, these first two games are very tough to bet. They're -3 spreads. They're very close games. Honestly, I'd take Green Bay here. I'll take the 3 or the 2.5, whatever it's at. Give me Green Bay. I want to see it from Philly again. I'm not quite sold that they're just going to be totally fine now that it's a new year. You know what I mean? Now, on the other hand, I'm not 100% sold on Jordan Love either, but I'll just take the underdog here. It's not something like, oh, it's a pod pick or anything, but gun to head, I'll take Green Bay.
I would take Green Bay too. But at the same time, I couldn't bet it because of the circumstance that it's week 1 in Brazil. Like, I'm just going to stay away from that shit.
Exactly. I agree. All right. Let's keep it moving. I know you got a draft soon.
Yeah.
2 more games. And I put this on there because I have a bet on it, and I think it's one of the more fun games on the schedule. The Arizona Cardinals are traveling to Buffalo. Buffalo are 6.5-point favorites. That's a pretty big spread. Over-unders 48. And I mean, honestly, the first thing I thought of when I thought about this game was receiving crews going in opposite directions, okay? So Arizona, they take Marvin Harrison Jr., number 4 overall, supposed to be incredible. They've got Michael Wilson. They've got the Greg Dortch. They've got Trey McBride, who's going to be incredible. Okay, so they look really solid here. What do you got there?
I got the 8th pick in about half an hour.
You got the 8th pick?
Yeah.
That might be the worst spot in the draft. Take A.J. Brown. Okay, so the Cardinals going up, those receivers, that receiving core is way better than it was. On the other hand, Buffalo loses Diggs and Gabe Davis, and they're going to rely on Dalton Kincaid and maybe Keon Coleman if he can get his shit together, and Khalil Shakir. I mean, 2 totally opposite things. And I think Buffalo is kind of going with the KC strategy of last year, where they're like, all right, let's kind of rebuild, but we have Josh Allen, and we're going to be good no matter what. Okay, so that's kind of my thoughts on this game. And what was I going to say about? Yeah, also, what worries me about Buffalo, and they've beaten us 6 out of the last 7 games. So I mean, they kind of own us right now. But what worries me about them is they lose Tre'Davious White. They lose Jordan Poyer to us. Matt Milano just went down with another injury. And trivia, Nick, you might have saw it in the notes. Who's the starting safety for the Buffalo Bills?
Oh, no, I actually saw the news, and I was like, oh, he's seen that too. Damar Hamlin.
Damar Hamlin, starting safety.
Who barely got any playing time the year that he passed away. And
that's concerning. He may just suck at football now. Kudos to him. He beat death and came back from being dead. So great guy all around, winning at life right now. but I just don't know how he's the starting safety. Remember, they tried to fake the punt with him in the playoffs. He could barely run last year. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on this game? I'm going to give my full opinion on who's going to win in the pod picks, but go ahead.
Right. We've got week 1. I'm excited to see Marvin Harrison Jr. I didn't watch much of him in college. The hype is big. So I want to see, I was actually a little afraid to take him in a lot of my fantasy drafts because I'm like, can he be that good? Because people are taking him
highest drafted rookie receiver ever in fantasy.
Okay.
In fantasy. Yeah. He was going at the 1-2 turn, 12th to 15th pick. I mean, no receiver's ever even gotten close to that.
Yeah. And I would say Arizona this year, they haven't done much to wow me as far as offseason moves where I'm like, oh, they're going to put it together. I don't think so. At the end of the season, I think this shakes out where Buffalo's a pretty solid team, probably a playoff team. I don't think Arizona's there, but this is week 1.
Yep, definitely. The public money is coming in on Arizona, 61% of the bets, 66% of the money, and it's a big spread, so it doesn't shock me at all.
That's actually not a bad thing, though. I pulled up from actionnetwork.com last year, looking overall at how the public fared against the spread in the NFL last year. They went 139, 115, and 9. With $100 better would be up $1,000 basically. The best single regular season for the public in the Bet Labs database dating back to 2003. So the public's on it, dog.
That is a great stat, Nick. So in 21 years, that was the best the public had ever done, 139, 115. And the funny thing is, all the sharps last year, because you got to remember, a lot of these pro big-time bettors, they don't read the game as much as they read the market. So they see money coming in on one side, and they're going to bet against it. So I just remember Stu Feiner losing his mind because he couldn't win a bet last year, and the public was just killing him. So you can't always go against the public, even though we like to sometimes. All right. Last game that we're going to review. Had to come home. Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to the Miami Dolphins. We're -3.5. Over-under is 49. Another big over-under. Give me your thoughts, Nick.
I think Jacksonville is going to be pretty bad this year. I know they added a few pieces on the defense and on the offense. They got a new center. They've got a new safety. They got a new cornerback. They got Eric Armstead on the defensive line. And I think of some other no-name-ish D tackle. They looked like crap last year. And Miami looked great. Top 10 offense, doing innovative stuff, motions, top 3 run offense. I don't know what they were on passing, but it had to have been good because Tua was
we were the best offense by far. Yeah.
Yeah, Tua was top 3 in every stat, QBR, deep passes, anything you want to call it. So I think Miami handles this one at home. I don't like going more than 3, but they're 3.5, I believe, right now.
Yep, for sure. I do like the Dolphins as well. Get back to Jacksonville, though. They were 8-3 and the number 1 seed in the AFC last year, and then they lost the rest of their games. So they kind of collapsed down the stretch. I think Lawrence was kind of shaken up. So
he heard everything.
Yeah. I'm not too down on
right knee, left shoulder.
Yeah, he was banged up. Yeah, I'm not down on the Jags like you are. I think ETN is a good running back. I think you got Brian Thomas they added to the wide receivers. You got Gabe Davis they added. And then obviously Christian Kirk is, Mr. Reliable there. And even though he changed his name because he didn't want to be associated with the other Josh Allen Hines now is his name. And he's a monster, good defender. We'll see if they can put it together on that side of the ball. But coming to Miami week 1, I mean, we tend to – here's the thing. McDaniel is always dialing shit up, okay? And we're not talking about the playoffs and the cold weather. We're not there yet, okay? We know we struggle down the stretch. We know we struggle with these good teams in the playoffs, okay? But this is week 1. No one's seen his new shit for this year. We are probably going to dial it up and light Jacksonville up. Our defense, we'll see. I mean, we got the new coordinator. We got Ramsey back. We added Poy. I mean, we got a lot of really good guys. We should handle Jacksonville. Nothing would surprise me, but I'd lean Dolphins here.
Facts.
All right. No fantasy today. Let's end the show with pod picks, Nick. It's 8:10. Yes, your draft's in 20 minutes, so we're perfect timing, okay? Yeah. Let me see how many pod picks I've got. I've got 3 pod picks, I believe. How many do you have, Nick?
I'm giving out 2.
You're giving out 2. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let me start then. Okay. And I am going to take you. Where am I going to take you first? Okay. Let's start with the game we talked about, Arizona Buffalo. Okay. That Buffalo defense scares the shit out of me. I think they are either two things. Either they're going to get in a lot of shootouts or they're going to do what Joe Brady, their offensive coordinator, likes to do best. And what they did down the stretch when they needed to win games last year, they're going to run and control the football. Do you remember that after Joe Brady took over, James Cook was the number 7 overall fantasy running back? They fed him. They are going to get him 15 to 20 carries a game. They're going to rely on Josh Allen. And I really think they're going to be in either a lot of shootouts or they're going to control the ball a lot. But I don't think this defense can stop Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray always starts strong when he's healthy. He hasn't been healthy in a couple of years. You remember a few years ago, they were 7 or 8. No, they were the number 1 team in the league. When he gets moving and he has weapons, the last time he had a number 1 wide receiver was DeAndre Hopkins, and they did pretty good. So throw in Marvin Harrison. Trey McBride is a budding star. The defense isn't going to be great. We know they're not going to be great, but I don't think Buffalo's is going to be either. And I think that plus 6.5 week 1, I'm taking it. Give me the points in these weird games, week 1 games. I'll take the points. Give me Kyler. Give me Arizona. I am going with the public, but as that beautiful stat you gave me, Nick, the public ain't too bad. All right. So
Hey.
Arizona plus 6.5 is the first pod pick.
All right. So my first pod pick, bringing it home where I live, the teaser. Had to start off with teaser. It wouldn't be
Here
the
he
Nick
is,
pod
the teaser.
without a Nick teaser.
Teaser.
So I'm bringing Cincinnati and Dallas into teasers. They're on opposite ends. So Dallas is a slight road dog at plus 2.5. I'm bringing them up to plus 8.5. The total for this game is 40.5 or 41. They've got a high-powered offense. They've got CeeDee Lamb just got his new bread. And the team that they're playing against, honestly, is not that great and should not be favored by 8.5 points. If we look at here, the margin of victories from all the regular season games from 2000 to 2023, if you can get it past the 3, past the 7, past the 6, past the 4, past the 8, you're taking care of a lot of these outcomes. 15% of NFL games ended with a 3-point margin of victory, 9% at 7, 6% at 6, 5% at 4, and then another basically 4% at 8. So when you have the opportunity to take a team past all those key numbers, you're cutting out a lot of outcomes and you're gaining an edge there. So I like Dallas, which I honestly think is the better team in this matchup, even though they're not favored. I like Dallas up to plus 8.5. And then Cincy, we got them as a home. I have typo Cindy. They're a home favorite at -2.
Yep.
So I'm taking them. Sorry, they're a home favorite at -8. It's a large margin of victory. It's week 1. I bring them down to -2. I bring them back down through those key numbers that we were just talking about. And whatchamacallit, you're gaining is a low total. It's a low total game. So each one of those points is valuable, and then you're bringing it past key numbers. I love it. Jamar Chase returned to practice. I don't know how they're going to play week 1. They might not be too great, but
they should beat the Patriots.
The Patriots are if they're not the worst team in the league, they're tied for the worst team in the league. So -2 at home. I know that the home away splits haven't been as great as in the past, like 4 years ago, where automatically 3 points you got at home. So since he was playing an average team, they would be -2 against them at home. I like that. And I think New England is worse than an average team. So I like it even more.
Nick, I don't even I heard about half of what you said, but it sounded so good. You got stats this year. You know what you're talking about. I am on board. I love that teaser. And actually, my second pod pick goes kind of hand in hand with that. I like the under in that Dallas Cleveland game. Okay. Cleveland, we don't know what Deshaun's going to bring, but we know they got a good defense. Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb didn't practice the entire offseason. He's back. We don't know what their running backs are going to be. You know, Cleveland's going to muck it up at home. They always do. And it is a low total. I think it's probably one of the lowest totals on the week at 40.5. But I just see this as a 2010 game or a 2017 game or a 17-14 or 21-17, something like that. I really like the under in this game. It's one of the ones that stuck out to me. So give me the under in the Cleveland Dallas game.
I like it. All right. My last one is Dolphins -3.5 at home. I'm going with the home team. I don't know how that's worked out for us in the past.
Let's go.
Where we take our home team. But yeah, so Miami, a top 10 team, playing against Jacksonville, who got a lot of new pieces. I don't know that they're going to have that continuity week one going into it. Plus, you got to bring them on the road. Lawrence hopefully is healthy coming into the season, but so is Tua, and so are the Miami Dolphins. So yeah, Miami Dolphins -3.5 to beat Jacksonville at home.
Beautiful. All right, I'm going to give my last pod pick, and then we're going to give you the 2 prop god plays of the week. I love this one. We didn't talk about this game. Rematch from the first round of the playoffs. Matthew Stafford coming back to Detroit again. Rams at Lions. Going to be a fantastic. Honestly, they spoiled us with these primetime games, Nick. Baltimore, Kansas City, Green Bay and Philly in Brazil. Rams at Detroit, and then Monday night is Aaron Rodgers going back to San Francisco, who didn't draft him, and playing fucking San Francisco. And guess what? 2 weeks ago, it looked like San Francisco's guys were all out. McCaffrey's back, Trent Williams signed, and Ayuk signed, and we got the full squad, and it's going to be a fucking awesome game. But
Ayuk signed? Nice.
Yeah, Ayuk signed a week ago. All right.
Or is he
You drafted him in the fantasy league last
No, I know, but was he? I think there was some recent news. Did he get hurt recently? I'm gonna look it up.
He's been banged up a little bit, but he's gonna be fine. He was banged up because he needed money. That was basically what was happening.
Okay.
All right. So my last pick, though. This guy always seems to score a touchdown first week of the season. Okay. Every time I watch, he just seems to get in the end zone. David Montgomery. It's going to pay out plus 100 anytime touchdown scorer. You know Detroit's going to move the ball, especially at home in the Dome. And whenever they get within the 10, they just like to feed Monty. Okay. So simple pick, anytime touchdown scorer, David Montgomery. Now, Nick, why don't you let's recap the picks. Actually, I've got Arizona in the points. I've got the under in the Dallas Cleveland game and Montgomery to score on Sunday night. You have the Dolphins -3.5, and you have a fucking great teaser with Cincy down to -2 and Dallas up to +8.5. All right.
Yeah.
Big moment. 22-9 on the year last year. I mean, the fact that you guys get to listen to this podcast for free and we bring this guy on is fucking crazy. Okay. He could make you absolutely rich. Rome, you're so right. That Detroit Rams game, I know it's going to be a long day. We're going to watch a lot of football. It's going to be Thursday, Friday, and then all day Sunday. But that Detroit Rams game is going to be awesome. All right. Prop God. 2 kicker picks. Okay. First one, Jason Myers. He's going back to the well. Jason Myers at home against the Broncos, plus 100, even money. And you know they're going to move the ball on the Broncos. I really, really like this bet. Jason Myers over 1.5 field goals. And then his second one, he said to keep an eye on the weather in this game, okay? If the forecast changes, you know Buffalo, it's a Buffalo game. The forecast is all over the place always. But if the weather's fine and it's not pouring, Tyler Bass over 1.5 field goals. I love this bet. I've got him in my fantasy leagues, a couple of them at least, and I think that's a really good bet. That one's going to be -105. So really close to even money here. He's not giving out these big spreads. So Jason Myers and Tyler Bass over 1.5 field goals. Back to basics for Prop God, kicking bets. And wow, I mean, we just gave you, let's see, that's 7 bets. I am going to take every dollar I have, Nick, every dollar, and put it on these bets. No, I'm kidding. All right. Gamble responsibly.
You have a family.
I have a family. Gamble responsibly, everyone. Can't believe we're back. It feels incredible to be back. Everyone in the chat, we appreciate you. Everyone listening, we appreciate you. Nick, good luck in your fantasy draft. Anything else? Are you good?
That's it. I got 10 minutes to prepare. Let's get it.
All right. Peace, everyone.
Peace.